Hey, what's going on everyone? Jeremy here with another video, and we're talking about Empire again just because the fundamentals and the things that are happening behind the scenes I think are huge. But before we get to that, if you want to follow along my journey as I build wealth for my family, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And remember, none of this is intended to be financial advice. I am merely a guy sitting in front of a computer talking to a camera. But let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so let's talk about the price a little bit because you've probably seen it go all over the place. We just zoom out here. You can see that it was probably about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. My days are starting to blend together. October 21st. So this was about 2 weeks ago when I first launched the first video. It was somewhere back over here. Empire was less than a penny. It was about right here when I launched that first video and told you all about Empire. It might have moved up into the 1 cent range, basically somewhere in here. And you can see what happened. We got a lot of steam and it bumped up all the way to 17 cents, and then it's come back down, falling back down to about 5 cents was the bottom, and now it's sort of making its rise back up, which is to be expected with a coin like this. There's going to be a lot of volatility. It is still very, very, very early on. Right now we're at 9.5 cents, but there's some big news too as far as the token itself. If we look over here on BSC scan, we can see here there's only a billion Empire tokens that will ever exist. But look at this, the holders, the number of addresses is up to 15,000. A week ago it was like 9,000. So they're gaining a lot of new wallets and a lot of new investors coming in. A ton of big news is happening as far as their CertiK audit. So obviously in order to get listed on some of the larger exchanges, you've got to have a security audit done, and CertiK is sort of the de facto best one. And so they went with this company to do an audit. I believe the report is out or will be out very soon. And then not only that, they also launched, CertiK has a product called Skynet. Basically, from my understanding, it's just a software security tool that analyzes smart contracts just to ensure, see how they word it up here. Skynet is a unified set of security tools that leverages automated technologies to check deployed smart contracts against a wide range of known vulnerabilities at scale. It produces accurate smart contract security scores which indicate the risk potential for hacks and code malfunctions. So basically they're investing the money to ensure that their smart contract, the Empire smart contract, is secure and isn't at risk of being hacked. So that's a big thing. I think both of these, the CertiK audit and the Skynet deployment, is huge. There was sort of some troubling news just yesterday actually, and I haven't decided yet how I feel about it, but they have decided, if you remember from the video, see if I can find it on here. They may have taken it down. There was a tax. So there's a tax on purchases and sales of Empire token to the tune of 10%. I don't remember what the layout was. I know that it was 10% tax on the buy and the sell, and of that 10%, some of it went to liquidity, some of it went to the team, some of it went to marketing, and then 3% went back to token holders as reflections. So when you hold, you basically, every time there's a transaction, you gained a little bit more Empire in your wallet. Well, they just announced yesterday that they are pausing all of that. Entirety of the 10% tax is going to go back to building liquidity. And their justification of that was that they didn't want the price to be as volatile up and down like it has been, and they wanted it to be more steady. Now they say that the old tokenomics will be coming back at some point, but they didn't really give a timetable of when that was. I would be very disappointed if it never came back. I think the reflections were a good thing, especially if the price continues to rise as I expect it will. Then that's a good amount of income coming in just off of the reflections for holding it. There's also speculation that there were some large whales that wanted to get involved with Empire. Obviously just speculation, who knows if that's true. And in order for that to happen, there had to be liquidity there for them to buy the amount that they wanted to buy into. You know, it is what it is at this point. We'll see how it all pans out. They're obviously talking about their NFT marketplace that is continuing to be worked on that will bridge multiple chains together, and you'll have the ability to mint and bulk mint NFTs right from the marketplace here. So obviously, I think that's going to be big, and then licensing of NFTs that they've talked about already, I think could be big. They even went so far in their Ask Me Anything to talk about the idea that basically everything could be tokenized with NFTs, even to the point of, it's a really interesting concept. You think about a restaurant, you could tokenize every aspect of that restaurant, even the table, and sell the table. You would be able to basically earn revenue as an NFT holder for that particular table based on the revenue that that particular table earns or makes for the restaurant, or a seat. Yeah, really sort of forward-thinking ideas here, which I found intriguing. And then they went into talk of their own decentralized exchange that's coming. And a couple neat things that they talked about was that it's going to have a fiat on-ramp. So I'm assuming you'll be able to use a credit card or debit card or something to purchase tokens on the platform, on the DEX. And then the other really interesting thing that I found was that it is going to have the ability to track your entire portfolio across all chains, including tracking of purchase and sell transactions and the price of those tokens at that particular point. And so if you think about this from, I'm in the US, you think about this from the United States tax standpoint, I think the majority of crypto investors are not trying to avoid paying taxes on our gain, but it is extremely difficult to track everything. And so this will basically make it almost seamless, because you'll put in all of your wallet addresses and the system would just track those. So as you make a sale, it's going to track what you sold, what the price was, and how much it cost you. And then whenever money comes in, it's going to track what came in, what the price was, how much it cost you, all of that, which I think is huge. And it sounds like what they're going to do is it's going to be a tiered service. So you may get a certain number of wallet addresses for free, but then beyond the free threshold, you would have to pay for that service using Empire tokens. And then at some point, the ratio wasn't all hashed out. There was talk of 50%, but the profit of that, 50% would go back to Empire token holders as almost like a dividend, and then the other half would go back to the project. Really interesting and forward-thinking ideas. I don't know if this will all pan out. Obviously, there is a lot that they're wanting to do and talking about wanting to do. They talked about an app that will be coming that will be community-based, have like groups and chatting and all kinds of functionality. I don't know what else is going to be in that. So the other big announcement that has come out is the number of exchanges that Empire is going to be listed on. So they already announced one, ZT, which is ZTBTC Global. I had never actually heard of this, but every exchange is better and better for the project. There was also talk that they are reaching out to every single exchange, even Kucoin. Now, I don't think they're reaching out to Coinbase or Binance yet. I don't think they're quite big enough for that. But he said they are in talks with Kucoin, which would be really, really big and a big thing for Empire token. But I just thought that the fact that they are starting to get some of these exchange listings is a big thing. That will help push the price up even more. Obviously, we know that PancakeSwap, it's not hard to use once you figure out how to do it. But for somebody that's new, that has never used it before, it can be sort of cumbersome and confusing on what to do. But being on an exchange just makes things so much easier. So that is obviously big news. If you're like me and you have a lot of different non-custodial wallets and you're looking for a way to keep all of those seed phrases organized, then consider purchasing this book that I have on Amazon. It basically has a place where you can write down all of those seed phrases and keep them secure, write notes about it, maybe put what tokens are on that particular wallet, and store it safely somewhere. Just an easy way to keep it all organized. If you haven't seen the video on what Empire is and how to buy it, I'll put that one right over here. It's starting. Go ahead and click on that, and I will see you over there.